Hello, welcome to Movie Musters. Recap of Lioness Season 2 Episode 7, The Riskiest Quest Yet. In Lioness Season 2 Episode 7 Paramount, Joe speaks with Josephina. The assignment must have come to an end with Joe out and about, right? False. In Lioness Season 2 Episode 7, everything is at stake, and the dangers are serious. To refresh your memory, the team has been pursuing Los Tigres, a Mexican drug organization that is purportedly under the influence of Chinese intelligence, this season. This was established in Episode 1, and Josephina's major subplot was introduced in Episode 2. The U.S. side is using her as an asset. She is the cartel leader's niece. But as a loyal soldier, there have been some unpleasant hiccups as a result of her fight, especially with team leader Joe. We also discover via Episodes 3, 4, and 5 that there are stronger connections to Iranian nuclear war plans, child smuggling networks, and the betrayal of a Mexican special agent. How could Lioness Season 2 Episode 7 get worse now that Joe is struggling for her life after being shot? Spoilers coming. In Lioness Season 2 Episode 7, the mission has been modified. The Lioness Paramount cast. In order to discuss the problem of the strike team ambush, Edwin comes to visit Byron. Byron thinks the suicide bombers were Iranian Chinese counterintelligence, so he wants to discover why they were at the border. Also, in addition, he believes there is supposed nuclear activity between the two countries in Tehran and that there is a plot to destabilize the border in order to sway the election. There is no commander, and the enemy is at the gate. Even if it damages their jobs, Edwin wants to slam the gate shut. Joe woke up at the hospital in a condition of frenzied panic in the meanwhile. Neil and the girls are present as the doctor tells that Joe's cell phone piece, not a gunshot, caused the damage. For the next week, she is prohibited from engaging in any strenuous activities, which hits her like a lead balloon. Joe calls her call to Neil in Episode 6, Cruel, as Neil tells him that she would kill him if she dies in action. Joe's reaction? If he isn't strong enough, leave her or get a divorce. Although it appears that Joe wants to go, she assures Neil that everything must be done according to her wishes. She has taken the pledge and is not abandoning her responsibilities lightly. Byron shows up to learn more about the ambush. Instead of actually harming the team, Joe believes the bombers were there to prevent them from being an asset. Similar to what Kaitlyn has been doing, Byron assigns Joe to direct the mission. Joe finds it difficult to give up ground control, and Byron doesn't give her an option. See also, the top 5 highlights of Season 3 Episode 7, Cruz and Pablo in Lioness Season 2 Maximum. Our Mexican special agent is among the captives being held when Kyle and Kaitlyn arrive. To find out if he is lying, they are administering a polygraph exam to him. See Kaitlyn's final remarks in the previous episode. He denies accepting a bribe, but he won't say if he reported the conduct. We eventually learn that he didn't since he murdered Keith Roberts, the person who offered the proposition. He explains that the drug problem is far more serious than any of them and is basically out of control. Kaitlyn speaks with the tapped housekeeper who is under protective custody. Before they decide what to do next, she orders Kyle to clean up the mess. The team is working with a nasty time bomb, with the team verifying that they must be taken off the website. Before traveling to see our polygraph victim, Kaitlyn recommends a secure location in Costa Rica. In essence, she agrees that they are back on the same side to complete what they began when she asks how they go past this and establish common ground. Joe senses Kaitlyn's anger. Lioness Season 2 Paramount's Kaitlyn. While Cruz and Josephina reach Cruz's home in North Carolina, the crew transports Pablo to Costa Rica. As they discuss what transpired, Josephina worries that no matter how the mission turns out, she will never be off the hook with Pablo. Physical violence in both families is obviously a commonality between the two, which strengthens their bond. They are ready to share a kiss when the door is knocked on. When Bobby and the guys arrive, he explains that their base hold is not prepared with any lodging. Kaitlyn pays Joe a visit at the hospital in Washington. Joe's goal was to bring down the cartel, not to stop children from being transported, and Kaitlyn is coming in hot. She has failed in every way. She wants to find a new target as soon as possible. Joe is prepared to disregard the doctor's recommendations to take a break and return to work right away. Josephina believes she is solely to blame, but Cruz believes the expedition is being halted because of her involvement in the previous episode. When Joe gets home, he is unimpressed by Neil's thoughtful attention to her welfare. He tries to convey how fragile her health is, but she has already left for work, which infuriates him. Joe's reaction? At last, she gave Neil more details about her work, including the kid smuggling ring. She heads to the CIA using that as an excuse for not sleeping. The group is returning to Iraq. Joe is furious that she has come for the briefing in Lioness Season 2 Paramount Byron. They are discussing the nuclear developments between Iran and China, namely the shipment of weaponry to Tehran. Joe is unclear about the goal, although there is a U.S. base nearby where their site is. Showing both nations that they are not the only ones with open borders is essentially a new one. The conclusion is that the strike squad will be attacked by Squad Lioness. With Josephina being utilized for her training as a helicopter pilot at last. There's a particular condition: no strikes are permitted to take place in Iraq, it has to be in Iran so they can see how far we can reach. Kaitlyn is told she can just observe and advise, when Joe persuades Byron and Kaitlyn to assume leadership. The repercussions are far more severe if everything goes wrong. Joe is also prohibited from leaving the Iranian base. Byron clarifies what Edwin stated during their initial discussion: since there isn't any formal CIA approval in this case, there is some degree of deniability in the event that something goes wrong. Joe is advised by Kaitlyn to be aware of her strengths and weaknesses in order to avoid becoming a liability. Returning to Cruz's home.
Hello, welcome to Movie Musters. Great Season 2 and the finale. Did Lioness Josie make it through her adapted, season-ending mission? By Midovich, Matt Webb. Spoilers for Lioness's Season 2 finale, which is currently available to stream on Paramount+, are included below. The Lioness Season 2 conclusion was a horrific nail-biter, as cast member and EP Jill Wagner had predicted. The main focus of Season 2's 8th and final episode was the Lioness team's redesigned goal, which was to prevent two Chinese nuclear experts from arriving at Iran's Isfahan nuclear base while they were in a Turkish military convoy. In the meantime, Byron and Kaitlyn persuaded Josie's father Pablo to join them in San Jose, Costa Rica, in exchange for permission to manage his brother Alvaro's company from the United States, but with the security he might enjoy in Mexico. As a result, Pablo set up a meeting between his brother and Alvaro at his secure complex. Byron gave Pablo a pistol so he could shoot his brother in the skull after he, Kaitlyn, and Kyle had just managed to get past the private security contractors. Byron was miserable on their flight back, in part because of the heartless murder but more because they knew that despite their best efforts, so little would change. Similar articles. Finale of Yellowstone Season 5, Episode 14 Hauser, Kelly Riley Cole. Recap of the Yellowstone finale: who won the ranch and who purchased the farm in the series' last scene. Landman Episode 6 Recap the second beating, Season 1. The Landman Review, The Incorrect Hillbilly. Josie and door gunner Cruz were supposed to intercept the Turkish convoy in a helicopter back in Iran. Taylor Sheridan, the creator of the series, plays Cody, while the other Cody provides ground-based sniper cover. Josie failed to keep her bird from being clipped by enemy fire despite making two strong, explosive passes at the convoy. Consequently, the helicopter plunged into a collision, leaving Josie not only stunned but also with a severely fractured left leg. After learning about the downed bird, Joe and the QRF squad headed for the crash site, where they and the Codys exchanged gunfire with the Iranian forces that were arriving. In the meantime, Cruz assisted Josie in limping to a little elevation, where they and the other members of the outnumbered and outgunned QRF crew took up position behind some stones. Close air support, or CAS, and the two Delta teams still many minutes out. Taylor Sheridan, the creator of the series, plays Cody, while the other Cody provides ground-based sniper cover. Josie failed to keep her bird from being clipped by enemy fire despite making 2 strong, explosive passes at the convoy. Consequently, the helicopter plunged into a collision, leaving Josie not only stunned but also with a severely fractured left leg. After learning about the downed bird, Joe and the QRF squad headed for the crash site, where they and the Codis exchanged gunfire with the Iranian forces that were arriving. In the meantime, Cruz assisted Josie in limping to a little elevation, where they and the other members of the outnumbered and outgunned QRF crew took up position behind some stones. Close Air Support, or CAS, and the 2 Delta teams still many minutes out. Joe and company did everything they could to eliminate enemies one by one while CAS, Close Air Support, and the 2 Delta teams were still many minutes away. However, as more and more combatant forces began to pour out of approaching transports, the QRF began to take hits. Finale of Lioness Season 2 Crash of Josie Hello. Tucker was shot in the leg. Bobby, her face scraped by a ricochet. In the belly, Texas. 2 cops were also struck. Given the dangerous circumstances, Joe verified that Josie was still carrying a pistol and instructed her to fire it on Joe and other people before they could be taken prisoner or subjected to torture. Josie screamed loudly as the grim end appeared closer and closer, and Joe muttered "I love you" to her faraway family. Subsequently, the air was filled with the high-pitched whooshing of CAS, and the coming bird bombarded the ground below with thousands of railgun rounds and missile after missile until the menace was completely eliminated. Later, when they gathered again at the hangar, the medics assessed the injured, noting things like Josie's shattered tibfib and many arterial GSWs. However, it appears like everyone would survive this ordeal. Cruz told Joe, evaluating the team's near miss, "If I had a family, kids?" I believe she intended to say, "I would have sent a missile to prevent the possibility of more agony." Joe shook her head and said, "No. You wouldn't."
When their phones ring, Cruz and Josephina are finally kissing for the first time. All the squad knows is that they are returning to Iraq, but they have no idea why. Joe arrives at the plane, suit and boots, to meet the team, but they are also meeting with another team. Joe responds that she's here to save the day, when Josephina inquires about her involvement. When Joe phones Neil, he hears the plane in the background and becomes irritated with her. Furious that he didn't prioritize the females, he hangs up. She declares as she boards the aircraft that she has no idea how long she will be gone. Every week, Lioness Season 2 is available for viewing on Paramount+. Take a look at Taylor Sheridan. What transpired in the most recent episode and if Team Lioness is real? Additionally, there are more TV series available for streaming this month. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe for more videos. Thanks for watching.